Show me.
Hello everybody, Martial Arts Film Freak here, and I was tagged by Jack from Let's Crash This Parade to do this video. He was tagged recently to do a video where he essentially took a bunch of genres and said his favorite movies and all of them. And he called me out and told me to do it, so I'm going to do it, except I'm going to do something a bit different with mine. Since I am the Martial Arts Film Freak, I'm going to actually do 2 movies for each genre, and that is a regular movie and a martial arts movie, because just like superhero movies in the past few years, martial arts movies can also be multiple things, you know? The Dark Knight is a crime thriller and a superhero movie. Ant-Man is supposed to be like a heist movie, but also a superhero movie. You know, stuff like that. So, I'm picking 2. And it's going to be kind of hard. Quick note about all these movies. This is all just on the whim, on the fly. You can ask me tomorrow what all my favorite movies in these genres is going to be, and I'll probably give you a different answer. Except for a few, you know, a few of them are probably mainstays, but there's just a lot of really good movies out there, and it's real hard to just pick a favorite, so, you can ask me any day, and it's going to be a different answer. Let's get started with something simple, start with drama. Now, drama's a bit vague. Drama covers a very large landscape, but for some reason I was thinking about this one, and I landed on Whiplash. And the reason I landed on Whiplash is because it perfectly just pounds you into the ground with its characters, with its scenarios, making you just feel stressed out and depressed. And then in the end, it just gives you ultimate satisfaction. With that drum solo, oh my god, that drum solo is enthralling. It is just as good as any fight scene. That drum solo just feels so good because it's just the main character getting every bit of revenge and showing that he's a bad motherfucker. To the martial arts side of the drama, thought about this. It's a little hard, you know. You got your Grandmaster, you got Warrior. I even thought about Shaolin. Shaolin is a fantastic, brilliant film, but I'm going with Ip Man 3. Now that may be a bit weird, you know. It's the one with Mike Tyson. Is it really a drama? But there's a side to Ip Man 3 that is beautiful, and what that is the best part of any Ip Man movie is when he comes face to face with the fact that his kung fu can't solve every problem. In the first movie, it's my kung fu can't solve political turmoil, can't solve the suffering of my neighbors. In the third movie, Ip Man's wife is diagnosed with cancer. And aside from all the fighting and everything, he learns he can't deal with his wife's trauma, with his wife's condition, with his Wing Chun. And so for a bit of the movie, he puts all that to the side, and he just spends time with his wife. And it's some of my favorite parts of that whole movie. And it's a great movie. It's some really fantastic fight scenes. And in the end, when she says, hey, I know you need to go do this, and I'll go be there for you. And I just think that's such a wonderful movie. And if you haven't seen Ip Man 3, I mean, you've probably seen at least the first 2 and said, I get it. I promise Ip Man 3 is great. Moving on to horror. Horror. I don't like horror. I don't like being scared. I'm a bit of a bitch. But I do like a good movie. I like a creative movie. And if it's a horror movie, as long as it's good and it's creative, I like it. And there's been some really good horror movies the past few years. Just thoughtful, creative movies. Get Out, Us, what is it god dang called? Invisible Man. Whole lots of others that I can't think of. The Babadook was great. Anything Ari Aster can suck my ass. God, those movies are terrifying, and I will never watch them ever again. But I'm gonna go with VHS 2. I like the first VHS. I never saw the third one. Heard it's not as good. I like the first one quite a bit, but the second one just a bit more creative. If you haven't seen the VHS movies, the VHS films are collections of short films from the found footage perspective, and they're all super creative. The second one in particular does have a 15-minute long short directed by 2 people, directed by Gareth Evans from The Raid, and directed by god dang it, what is your name, Timo Chajanto, I believe is his name. So in that, you get a director known for his action and a director known for his horror, and you put them together and you get a really crazy, batshit, cool short film. I think VHS 2 is really, really good, not just for that one short. I think the whole movie is super creative and nuts. For the martial arts side of this, there is a martial arts horror section, and, you know, I could go Mr. Vampire, I could go Rigor Mortis, I could go a whole lot of other movies, but, you know, I'm a simple man. I'm going to say this a couple times throughout this video. I'm a simple man. You give me Sammo Hung, I'm going to go Encounters of the Spooky Kind. I mean, you give me some voodoo magic stuff, you give me Sammo Hung being funny and doing awesome martial arts, hey, that's all I need. Encounters of the Spooky Kind. Now for comedy, I do love me some comedy. I grew up watching my Hot Shots, my Naked Gun, Airplane, Ace Ventura, Wayne's World. In the past few years, though, there haven't been too many comedies that really got me, but the big ones, oh my god, the big ones. Booksmart had a moment, and like, the whole movie is very funny, but it had one specific moment that had me fully guttural laughing that I don't do very often with a lot of movies. Also, Game Night. Saw Game Night in theaters, and it just thought it was incredible. I got it on Blu-ray too. It's just so good. Dope, even though Dope is a bit more of a drama, it's one of my favorite movies of all time. But I'm going with Spaceballs. Now, I may be a basic bitch for this, and it's not even for the Star Wars jokes. The Star Wars jokes aren't even the funniest jokes in those movies. The funniest jokes in Spaceballs, it's just all the fourth wall breaking stuff and Michael Winslow. Like, the whole thing of you capture their stunt doubles, the whole section where they're trying to they're like, oh, let's just watch the movie and figure out where we're at. And they get to the part where they're at, and they're just watching like the back of their heads on the screen, and they're trying to figure out like, when is this? This is now. It's so good. It's a brilliant movie. It makes me so happy.
You're looking at now, sir. Everything that happens now is happening now.
What happened to then?
We passed then.
When?
Just now. We're at now.
Go back to then.
When?
Now.
Now?
Now.
I can't.
Why?
We missed it.
When?
Just now.
When will then be now? Soon.
For the martial arts portion of this, I thought about it. I thought of a lot of Jackie Chan movies. And it's hard, man. There's just so many. And I guess I'm going to land on Kung Fu Hustle. And that seems another basic-ass answer. But goddamn, that movie's just good. Not only do you get the comedic brilliance of Stephen Chow, but you also get whole sections directed by Sammo Hung that just feature fantastic martial arts, fantastic kung fu. And I can't complain with that at all. Adventure's also a hard one, because Adventure, I just try to think of any movie that, like, somebody goes on an adventure. And, like, it's weird that Star Wars really isn't going to be anywhere on here, but, like, if you ask me, like, my favorite saga films, like, Star Wars is, like, my all-time favorite movies ever. I love Star Wars more than anything in this world, except for, like, martial arts movies and wrestling. I love all three of those things, maybe equal, although Star Wars may peak just a little bit more. But, again, I'm a simple man. Adventure. I can watch Indiana Jones and The Last Crusade all day. I love The Last Crusade. That's just a near-perfect movie. I don't know what to say. I don't know what you want me to say. Last Crusade. That movie rules. For martial arts adventure, that's a bit harder. I don't know, what do you got? Like The Myth? Operation Condor? Armor of God? Armor of God's kind of boring. I mean, the fight scenes and the action are great. Got it. Landed on it. I remembered. Gotcha. Eastern Condors. Eastern Condors. Now, this could arguably also be placed under war. But nah. Eastern Condors is Sammo Hung, Yuan Biao, Corey Yuan, Yuan Hua. It's great. I love Eastern Condors. Like, it's a fantastic kung fu. If you've never seen Eastern Condors, you need to do yourself a favor. That movie is just, it's amazing. Science fiction. Now, I would love to just pick like a serious drama science fiction, something that boggles the mind. Arrival, Interstellar, other things that I can't think of. But you know what? I'm going to go fun with this one. Like, I love those real deep science fiction movies. But you know, I think I'm just going to go Attack the Block right now. You ever seen Attack the Block? John Boyega, Nick Frost, a lot of people, Jodie Whittaker. It's just a fun science fiction. Like, I love also like The World's End is good, but right now I'm gonna go with the world with the Attack the Block. It's like it's action, it's funny, it's scary. That's a good movie. The martial arts side of this is even harder because it's hard to think of just like really solid science fiction martial arts movies. Like, what is there, like Silverhawk, Bleeding Steel? Those are bad movies. And I'm gonna pick also a bad movie. And I think that bad movie is probably The One. The One is dumb, bad, but damn, like, just Jet Li kills it in that movie. Statham's fun enough. Delroy Lindo's there. The final fight is, I think, incredible. I think it's wonderful. Well done. The kung fu. First of all, the bad Jet Li doing a certain form of kung fu that I can't think of the name of, and then the good Jet Li. Like the styles they choose. Bad Jet Li has the closed-fisted style. Jet Li, or the good Jet Li with the open palm. There's specific names to them. I can't think of what they're doing. That's a really good fight scene. You put the kung fu to 2000s new metal, I'm down. Western, I'm going 310 to Yuma, the remake. I do not watch many Westerns. The ones I have seen are mostly very good. I really like 310 to Yuma, and it's mostly just for the wonderful performances. Alan Tudyk randomly is really good. Russell Crowe, Christian Bale, the wholly underappreciated Ben Foster is amazing in that movie. You could give him the same credit for Hell or High Water, which is like a modern day Western. He didn't get a nomination for that, and he should have. But 310 to Yuma, that's a good movie. Like, the remake is fantastic. For martial arts on this, I'm going back to Sammo Hung. Sammo Hung's taking up a lot of this. But you know what? Maybe he shouldn't make so many good movies. Millionaire's Express. Millionaire's Express is like a weird kind of Western setting with Cynthia Rothrock, Yuen Biao, Kurata was in there, Richard Norton, Sammo Hung, of course. What is her name? I can't think of. I'll put it right here. It's just good kung fu. It's a good kung fu movie. Great stunts, great fight scenes. What more can you ask for? It's a Western too for some reason. It's a good movie. For comic book, this is hard because comic book covers a lot of things. Comic book can be more dramatic. Comic book can be superheroes. And I'm going the superhero direction, but I'm not going the MCU, which you'd think I probably would, or even like The Dark Knight. I'm going, and I guess some people would probably also land on this. I'm going Logan, but the reason I'm going Logan is because I've found that I tend to romanticize things. I tend to romanticize characters and their stories. And as much as I love the MCU and like The Dark Knight, and a lot of drama is put into The Dark Knight especially, there's so much lightness in the MCU that I do appreciate. I do appreciate the bright, colorful characters and all that. But something that a lot of the X-Men movies in particular have done, something like your First Class or your Days of Future Past, those movies really take the time for characters. The moments between Charles and Eric in First Class, the moment between Charles and Charles in Days of Future Past, and almost the entirety of Logan. Like, all those movies hit me emotionally, and Logan just finally is that one that is just like, cry right now. And I love that, man. For the martial arts perspective on this, you can go something like The Crow. I'm going with Accident Man. Accident Man is a 2019, I think, film starring Scott Adkins, Michael Jai White, Ray Park, Ray Stevens, Amy Johnston, directed by Jesse V. Johnson, and it's a comic book from the UK or maybe some other areas, but Scott Adkins grew up with this comic book, and it's always been his favorite comic, and so he always thought, like, I'm gonna make an Accident Man movie someday. And so he did it. He wrote it with his friend. It's got like a really weird sort of Guy Ritchie feel with its dialogue. It taught me what the word defenestration means. And then Jesse V. Johnson he's a stunt guy turned director, so he knows how to capture his action. And when you're given people like Michael Jai White, Scott Adkins, Ray Park, and you get also a choreographer in Tim Mann, who is best friends with a lot of those guys, and they can just take the time to craft the very best fight scenes they can, and you have Jesse V. Johnson behind the camera, that movie just falls into place, man. That's a good one. Animation, I'm going Kubo and the Two Strings. This is not a surprise to anybody that knows me. Kubo and the Two Strings is a fantastic movie. If you haven't seen Kubo, I highly recommend it. It's stop motion animation. There's a bus driving by and it's very loud. Stop motion animation by Leica, same people who made Coraline and maybe Box Trolls. I could be wrong there. It's just gorgeous. The characters are wonderful. The story is fantastic. That movie hits me in the heartstrings every time I watch it. The action is quite good for an animated movie. The biggest crime about this movie, and this is directed almost entirely at Jack from Let's Crash This Parade. His pick for animation, spoiler, was Zootopia. Now that year that those two movies came out, Kubo and the Two Strings and Zootopia, both were nominated for Best Animated Picture at the Oscars, and Zootopia won. And that's a crime. Zootopia is not better than Kubo and the Two Strings. The Academy voted for the movie that they had all seen the most because it was a Disney movie, and not all of them had seen Kubo. Kubo was the best animated movie that year. Kubo is a masterpiece. Zootopia is good. Zootopia is important. Sure, it handles its racial issues, and that's very good. But Kubo and the Two Strings is a masterpiece, and I will always fight this battle that the wrong one won. Animation, this is hard. I could go Neja. I could go Batman vs. Robin. And I really can't think of a single really good animated martial arts movie. So I'm probably just going to skip this. Maybe I'll even just put Kubo and the Two Strings in there. Because, it handles samurai kind of material. Maybe Batman vs. Robin. Or let's just say skip. Because I can't think of shit. War. A lot of good war movies out there. But I've been thinking Fury. And I've only seen Fury once. And I feel like I need to write that wrong. Because Fury is very, very good. Fury is Brad Pitt, Shia LaBeouf, John Bernthal, Michael Pena, and Logan Lerman, and it's just about all these dudes in a tank. They're just in a tank in World War II, and they gotta get along, and they don't really like each other that much. I don't remember if that's really part of the plot. It's just a good movie. The action is tense, the characters are fantastic, the ending is cruel yet satisfying. Fury, I need to rewatch it. Fury is a good movie. Now, also for war, for martial arts, this is weird. People probably don't think war martial arts movies. I mean, the right answer here is Red Cliff, right? Pretty sure that's John Woo establishing this idea of battlefield foo. He just filled the screen with a butt ton of soldiers, and yeah, Red Cliff rules. Red Cliff is some old battlefield warfare done really well with a bit of kung fu in there. You could probably also go Warlords. That was weird the way I said it. Warlords. But Red Cliff feels like the right answer here. If you haven't seen Red Cliff, huge recommend. Go watch Red Cliff. Now I'm going to close this with romance. There's a lot of other things. I could talk crime movies. There's some, fantastic martial arts crime movies. I really can't think of my favorite just straight up regular crime movies. What you get, Casino, Heat, all those classics, Godfather, but none of them really stand out as the one. So I'm gonna go let's talk about a little bit of crime movies with martial arts. Crime movies with martial arts. What do you got? You got SPL, you get Flashpoint, Invisible Target is fantastic. There's some really good ones. I think I'd probably Invisible Target's real good. Yeah, I'll say Invisible Target or Crime Story. No, Crime Story's good. You know what? Just dive into the world of martial arts crime movies because there's just some absolute gems in there. Am I skipping action movies? Just action in general? Action is vague. Action is broad. I can't think of my favorite just straight up action movie. That's insane. That's nuts. That just covers so much stuff. Nah. Favorite martial arts action movie? Let's just go. Police Story is just always going to be one of the greatest movies of all time. You can love Ong Bak, you can love The Raid, and I'll always appreciate those movies. They're some of the best of all time. Man, Police Story just goes hard. Police Story does everything right. I don't know if I'm skipping fantasy. I'm not the biggest wuxia person. Wuxia is not my favorite. The best fantasy movie, I guess, is obviously The Two Towers. That's fantastic. I don't really have my favorite like big fantasy movie. If anything, that's probably Star Wars, because Star Wars lends itself to fantasy more. I know I'm really getting kind of touchy, like touch and go in this last little bit here, but some of these areas that are just vague, or like I just can't pick a favorite in some of these. My favorite fantasy martial arts movie is maybe Dragon Tiger Gate. It's essentially a graphic novel or an anime or manga, but yeah, that's the fantasy aspects of that are really good, and then the kung fu is fantastic. If you haven't seen Dragon Tiger Gate, serious recommend. Let's finally close this out with romance, and if I'm missing any genres, I apologize. There's a lot out there, but for romance, I had to think hard about this one because I don't watch a lot of romance. The ones I do are very, very good. I thought Crazy Stupid Love, I think that's just a wonderful film. It's brilliant. The comedy is really good. La La Land is fantastic. What else did I think of? I had The Intern, and The Intern is more of like a romance between like two respecting friends. I think that's a wonderful film. It's just one that's always nice and peaceful for me to watch. Mr. Right is an action romance that it just brightens my day every time I see it. I love Mr. Right so much. Well, I also considered Sing Street. If you haven't seen Sing Street, wonderful movie. You need to watch Sing Street. It is a highly, highly underseen film. Please watch Sing Street. But I concluded on Your Name. Your Name is a Japanese anime film about two people from different backgrounds, one from the country, one from the city, and when one goes to sleep, they wake up in the other's body, and vice versa. They go to sleep, they wake up in the other person's body, and through this, they have to figure out what's going on. They communicate with each other by writing in each other's notebooks, and over that course of time, they sort of fall in love, and that is barely scratching the surface of what that movie is about. I cannot say any more because I will ruin it. There's a lot going on in that movie aside from just that really cool plot, and I highly recommend it. It's fantastic. Also, a shout out to A Silent Voice, another Japanese anime film that's very good, and In the Mood for Love, which a weird thing here, I've never seen In the Mood for Love, and I really, really want to. It is Maggie Cheung and Tony Leung, and it is about two people who find out that their spouses are having an affair with each other. And so now they just sort of spark this friendship that could possibly have like a will they, won't they romance thing. But maybe they're just depressed and they're leaning on each other because they're in need right now because they just found out that their partners are cheating on them. And like that's just, from what I've seen, everything I've seen of that movie looks beautiful, and I've never seen it before. The martial arts answer for this, and there's a few ideas. There's a few. You got your House of Flying Daggers. You can even go Gorgeous, even though Gorgeous, when it comes to the romance stuff, really is not that great. It's more of the action, and the comedy is better than that. House of Flying Daggers, though, is very, very good. I am going to go with the obvious answer, that is Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. Now, what makes Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon so good? The writing is fantastic, the directing, the performances, the kung fu is just some of the most beautiful kung fu you are going to see in movies. And it's not all the wire work. A lot of it's also the ground-based stuff. And the point of all the wire work and even a lot of the kung fu is all of that is expressed through their emotions. Everyone's sensibilities come through in their choreography. So when someone is angry, you see that in the fight scenes. When someone is calm and collected, you see that in their martial arts. And when someone is in love and enthralled with the other person, you see that in their movement, and it's fantastic. If you haven't seen Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, it is one of the most beautiful martial arts films, kung fu films, wuxia films you're ever going to see, and I seriously recommend it. It's not about the wire work. Like, I know a lot of people see that wire work and they're thrown off, but that's the idea of fantasy, and it's in that world. Like, the wuxia world is essentially Middle Earth, where people can do that shit. Get over it and watch the wire work, understand the characters and what the meaning of the choreography is. It's just a good movie. Before I close this out, I do need to tag some people, as I was tagged by Jack. I need to tag some people to do this video, and I'm going to tag Hong Kong Cinema Appreciation Society. I think you can do some really cool stuff with this. I think you can do a whole list of nothing but Hong Kong movies, and that'd be neat. I'm going to tag Jeremy from Movies Are Terrible. Pick your favorite genres and favorite movies from certain genres. Include whatever genres you want. It doesn't have to be what I picked. You can include other stuff. Alex from Momentum Media. That would be really good. Also, over at Movies Are Terrible, I want one from Caleb, not just Jeremy. Caleb, you do one. Don't just be hiding behind that podcast, calling you out. I'm also going to include the Controversity on this. Controversity, go do yours. That'd be neat. And then I had a thought. I was thinking, and I lost it. I think those are it. I think those are good. Hong Kong Cinema Appreciation Society, Controversity, both Jeremy and Caleb over at Movies Are Terrible, and Alex over at Momentum Media. Do this video, tagged you. You better do it. No, you don't have to. You really don't. It's just a suggestion. You know, just a quick, easy video if you want to get it done. Thank you so much for watching. Tell me what movies I'm wrong about. What movies suck? What movies would you have picked for certain genres? Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Head over to Martial Arts Film Freak Facebook page over on Facebook, Instagram, Martial Arts Film Freak, Tristan_Glover on the Twitters. Thank you so much for watching, and have a good day.